Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this, your Aries February 2025 reading and forecast. Hi, I'm Nigel St. James, clairvoyant. Well, this month we have a great deck. It's a deck by a guy called, what's his name? Luigi Scapini, I think. Sort of Renaissance art. It's all hand painted. And so both you and I will enjoy it, but the paintings will give us probably things to talk about, I would suggest. Now, you do know, of course, that I provide clairvoyant readings to people from all over the world via FaceTime and Skype. And if you might be interested or curious to find out what's involved in that, the details are in the description at the end of the video. I charge for those, but what I do not charge for, and which I offer happily and for free, is the spiritual gift of healing. Now, the readings take about an hour and a half. The healing takes about 45 minutes. It's for free. Now, you might say, well, if it's for free, it can't be any good. Well, nothing could be further from the truth, because the fact of the matter is that it was given to me on the basis that I get nothing in return for it, and I am to use it. So I very happily do so, and just reach out if this is speaking to you, because I do people every day from this channel, and people are all very satisfied. Now, it could be a physical thing, it could be emotional. You might just be at your wit's end with something, things to do with business, work, who knows? It's it's an open slate of things that need relief brought to them. Now, there are no video advertisements, and if that does cry out, then the details are in the description as well. Now, we're only going to take 5, because that's all we're going to need. So, show me the magic. See what there is for you. Here is the 9 of Cups. Beautiful artwork on this. I think you'll agree with me in just a second. There's the devil. What a good devil he looks like as well. Balanced by the Pope, of all things, the Bishop of Rome, no less. There's the 6 of Swords, and finally, now, for you, there is the 9 of Wands. Great. I'll bring the camera around, shall I? You and I can have a good close look at the imagery that's on these cards together while I do the reading for you. What a fascinating month it looks like for you. Digging deep, coming into yourself, I think. I want to have a look at this. This has caught my attention. This card here of the devil, in particular this red color here, and the color of red around it, obviously the 2 figures naked there. There's a lot of energy that you'll have, creative energy, a new vitality, a lust for life. I think it could be pretty funny. Sensuality. Sensuality is something that I'm really picking up here, as well as sexuality, of course, and a great degree of individuality as well. Do you know, I think there's moments here when you are going to be acting on blind impulse, where you fire, then aim. But you will be irresistibly strong, I think. I think there's some hard work ahead of you, but you will have, and it's aided by this, you will have great endurance. Now, sexuality, well, in some respects, it's almost as if you live for sex. You celebrate it and relish the electricity of it with every fiber of your being, don't you? Sometimes it's as if you can see no better reason for being alive, because it makes you new. But this time, I think we have the stage where you are really going to be exploring sensuality. The first thing I'll say, though, is this, that guard and preserve your mystery like a chef who doesn't reveal the secret to their best recipes. Remember, if you lose your mystery, you lose all of your pizzazz and enchantment. But sensuality is the key for you. Now, A sensual lifestyle is a lifestyle you can have an affair with for the rest of your life, because sensuality never ages, nor does it ever go out of style. And I suppose for you, if you could move from let's make love to let's get lost in each other's sensuality, then imagine how all-consuming that experience would be. You can find new worlds of ecstasy and step into uncharted territories where no soul has ever been before. Now, sex loves speed, but sensuality, it loves depth. So how can I put this concept that's coming through to me in colours and symbols of sensuality, relating to sensuality and this energy? Look, maybe I can say it like this. Sensuality does not wear a watch. And I refer to sensuality as a woman, because let's face it, women are beautifully sensuous. So she doesn't wear a watch, but she always gets to the essential places on time. Now, she's adventurous, but not particularly quiet. And I suppose that she was reprimanded in grade school because she couldn't sit still all day long. She needs to move. She thinks with her body. And as you might imagine, as she grows up, she might find it difficult to be confined in work that provides no outlet for her. Now, sensuality has exquisite skin, and she appreciates it in others as well. Now, there are other people whose skin is soft and clear and healthy, but something about sensuality's skin announces that she is alive. Now, in your sign, at spring, the vernal equinox, when the sun starts to burst forth, sensuality likes to take off her shirt and feel the sweet warmth of the sun's rays brushing across her shoulder. Now, this isn't actually any provocative gesture on her behalf, of course. And other people can be, as usual, upset. And sensuality doesn't really understand why everybody is so disturbed by her. I guess when she was a little girl, she was often scolded for going barefoot. Now, sensuality likes to make love at that fine line where time and space can change places. And when she is considering a potential lover, she takes him to the ocean and watches him. Does he dance with the waves? Does he tell her about the time he slept on the beach when he was 17 and woke up in the middle of the night to look up at the moon? Does he laugh and cry and notice just how big the sky is? Well, with you and your sign, it is spring now, and sensuality is very much in love these days. Her new friend is very sweet. Climbing into bed the first time, the other person confesses that they're a little intimidated about making love with her. But sensuality just laughs and says, "What? But we've been making love for days." So take on sensuality. Don't be afraid, because this is asking you to remember that you are the captain of your life. Now, happens to be sitting below it. These look like a crowd of drunken pirates sleeping it off. But things are about to rev up, I think, because there are a couple of ships of the enemies coming towards them. This is asking you now to bring in and realize your power that you gain through unifying your conscious and unconscious energies. There's a wholeness about you. You'll have great determination, great strength of character, a courage under fire, and defending what you have worked for. Now, this is the moon ruling the second decan of Sagittarius. I also have a mystical association in the number 9 with the moon as well. So this is really about digging deep. Now, when the unconscious becomes visible, you could be faced with many things that you have covered up in order to avoid looking at them. Well, sometimes you find old, painful wounds. But there may be a fear also of your yet unproven strength, which now reaches into all the areas of your life, reorganizing them. This is a time when you will be displaying courage. Do you know that courage is the most important of all of the virtues? Because without courage, you can't practice any other virtue consistently. And remember this, you cannot swim for new horizons until you have the courage to lose sight of the shore from which you have left. This is also a time here, I see, with this placement of the astrology, where you'll be making decisions. And once you make a decision, the universe will conspire to make it happen. And I think that you'll find yourself in a situation where if someone tells you no, it doesn't mean that you can't do it. It simply means that you can't do it with them. Of course, I don't need to remind you that if you try anything, if you try to lose weight, or to improve yourself, or to love, or to make the world a better place, you have already achieved something wonderful before you even begin. Forget failure. If things don't work out the way you want, hold your head up high and be proud, and try again, and again, and again, 'cause you are going to be successful. You'll have great willpower here. You know, the difference between a successful person and others is not a lack of strength, it's not a lack of knowledge, but rather it's a lack in will. As usual, you will be prevailing, and I think you're also going to spend some time looking within. Let me have a look at this here. This is called the Pope. What strikes me about these things here, which look like a couple of trees, actually from memory, they are the things that hold up the canopy of the altar at St. Peter's Cathedral in Rome, if I'm not mistaken. Here's a staff with some planets on it. These 3 tiers are interesting for me. The first one down here is the natural world. The next one above is the world in which you live and where you exercise free will. And the top is that of the spiritual life, the other place, being itself. This is moving forward, this thing. It's coming towards you. It's almost as if this is welcoming you home. Around here, they look like depictions of the 7 deadly sins, but I'm getting very much this trees and this welcoming home. Where is home for you? There may well be some need for you to follow rules and regulations and the traditions in your life just at the moment. Not necessarily always, but just for now, don't go creating any revolutions, really. Time of great learning, I think, for you. Certainly it's very good for people in large organizations, as I see, but there's a degree of spirituality here where you start to get in touch with that inner guide that's within you. Why am I getting that? You could be seeking counsel. There's green, there's trees around everywhere. It's almost as if the search for the self is going to take you into spiritual realms. How can I put this in a way that I can make sense of? Let me tell you a story about trees. See, when I was a child, I grew up in an area that was surrounded by surf and a big bay, and also had lots of trees around it. And for me, trees have always been the most penetrating of teachers. I revere them when they live in their tribes and families, in forests or in groves. And even more, I revere them when they stand alone. They are like some lonely person, not like a hermit who has hidden away because of some weakness, but like great solitary men like Julius Caesar or Napoleon Bonaparte. Now up in their highest branches, the world rustles by and their roots rest down into infinity. But they don't lose themselves there. They struggle with all the force of their lives for one thing only: to fulfill themselves according to their own laws, to create their own form, to represent themselves. Nothing's more beautiful than a great tree, I think. And when a tree is cut down and reveals its naked death wound to the sun, then you can read its whole history in the inscribed disc of its trunk, in the rings of its years, its scars, all the struggle, all the suffering, all the sickness, but also all the happiness and prosperity. They all stand truly written, the narrow years and the luxurious years, the attacks withstood and the storms endured. A tree says, "A seed is hidden in me, a spark, a thought. I am life from eternal life. The attempt and the risk that the eternal mother took with me is unique. Unique in the form and in the veins of my skin, unique in the smallest play of leaves in my branches and the smallest scar on my bark. I was made to form and reveal the eternal in my smallest special detail." A tree says, "My strength is trust. I don't know anything about my mothers or fathers. I know nothing about the 1,000 children that every year spring out of me. I live out the secret of my seed to the very end, and I care for nothing else. I trust that God is in me. I trust that my work is holy, and out of this trust I live." You know, sometimes when you feel anxious, or you feel that you can't bear things any longer, then a tree has something to say to you. Be still, Be still, look at me. Life isn't easy. Life isn't difficult. Those are childish thoughts. Let God speak within you, and your thoughts will grow silent. You are anxious because your path leads away from mother and home. But every step and every day leads you back to the mother. Now, home is neither here nor there. Home is within you, or home is nowhere at all. Now, here you are, you genius. Let's have a look at what we have here. Now, this is a painting. That's interesting, isn't it? Well, I have to say up front here that there's this sort of structure here with this light coming through here, which shows illumination, enlightenment, coming to grips with something. The picture itself is reminiscent, isn't it, of that old Christian story of Saint Paul, who on the road to Damascus fell off his horse and was blinded by the presence of the divine, as it was said. Now, here we have Mercury ruling the second decan of Aquarius. Now, the airy planet of Mercury finds itself in the fixed sign of air, which is Aquarius. And Mercury gets on really well with Aquarius, so this is good for you. So you've got the ability to analyze things, to unify ideas. You'll have an all-encompassing vision. It's as if, as I say, there is a boom, a eureka moment that comes through here. Mercury really is one of the greatest gifts for Aquarius, because Mercury's ability to analyze is bringing you really clear perspectives on the future. Now, these things that you come to understand are not only seen and recognized you, but because of Mercury's brilliance in communication, you'll be able to effectively communicate your ideas and points of view to people. Now, Aquarius is also, as a fixed sign of air, and air signs can be a little detached, I suppose. Well, the most detached of them is the fixed sign of air, being Aquarius. So this is suggesting to me that you need to take something of a detached and balanced assessment of a situation or of a person. You need to analyze something without bias, without too much emotion, in order to get the right result. Also, because of this thing coming in the center there, I think you now have got intellectual, mental clarity that you have achieved by getting through and learning from difficult experiences. Now, I think you have grown through some tough times, and now you have a handle on life, and you can make sensible decisions that are going to benefit you. There's a greater awareness to your thinking and actions here. Now, it may well also be that there is a situation that you haven't really been able to come to grips with. It's now starting to get better. You are thinking out a better approach in dealing with the situation. Now, where are and what are the ruts in your life? Trust your insight and communicate in a way that others are going to understand, and allow the rose within you to unfold, and say to yourself, "The rose of recognition blossoms in my heart." And then, as if it could not get any better, because basically it can't, but you do have such a wonderful time here. Look, what's going on here? Well, this clearly is a classical figure for victory. There's an eye down here which speaks to me of wisdom, and these cups are all filled with depictions of pregnant ladies. And who doesn't like to see a pregnant lady about to give birth to new life? This is Jupiter ruling the second decan of Pisces, which is the 1st to the 9th of March. Now, Jupiter is the ruler of Pisces. I know people will tell you that Neptune is, but I don't for one moment say that. It's Jupiter. And Jupiter's philosophical approach, well, that really fits in well with Pisces spirituality. Jupiter is also bringing you good luck and happiness here. And also Jupiter's softer concerns, such as compassion and the spiritual life, well, they are beautifully expressed through sensitive Pisces. There is now an enormous capacity to love, although, as is so often the case with this gift, this is often hard won through lots of trials in the past, isn't it? But this is speaking to me of bliss, of overflowing love, deep joy and blessings here. The quality of the joy here is deeply rooted. It isn't the result of some temporary or superficial pleasure. It speaks of a bliss which is getting its energy from the deepest reaches of a soul at peace. Now, this moment, I think, is saying for you this month that it's going to be filled with harmony and inner joy, so open yourself to it totally. Don't miss out. Where do you seek and where do you find your true happiness? And say to yourself, because the words that you tell yourself are the most important you will ever hear, that happiness is my natural condition. What a fantastic spread of cards, made all the more beautiful thanks to you being here. Good. Well, I really enjoyed that art, and I hope that you enjoyed well, I'm sure that you would have enjoyed the reading as much as I did providing it to you. Now, unless I see you privately, either for a clairvoyant reading or for a healing, then I'll see you here again next month. Now, until then though, remember one thing, and it is this, that you are a legend. And I look forward to seeing you again next month. Until then, it's bye for now.